वैसे अगर देखें ये जो फिल्में हैं जो ख़ास तौर पर अमोल पालेकर, या छोटी बात, ये वाली जो वाला दौर है, अ, ये विषय आपको क्यों हमेशा बार बार इस विषय पर फिल्म?
मैं इसलिए है कि मैं मध्यम वर्गीय का आदमी हूँ। मेरे जीवन में तब भी बस और ट्रेन यही जीवन के अंग थे। मैं तो बोरीवली में रहता था, चर्च गेट तक आता था ट्रेन से वापस जाता था। वहाँ पैदल जाओ 15 मिनट घर है कि 70 रुपये का एक मकान भाड़े में लिया था, जो होता है हर एक का, मेरा अकेले का नहीं। तो उसी में सब खुशियाँ भी रहती हैं, थोड़े गम भी रहते हैं।
Picture a film that looks like your own home. A fan is spinning overhead, your family is arguing over dinner or lunchtime whenever. Dreams and worries are blending into everyday life. That's Indian middle class cinema. It leaves behind glamour and stays close to what feels real. Small struggles, quiet hopes, and familiar moments. These films follow people with steady jobs, tight budgets, but they have dreams that are slightly bigger than their means. The characters seem familiar because they are familiar to you, especially sometimes they get a lot closer to you. As director Basu Chatterjee said, it's not about heroes that fight 10 men, but it's about the journey and quiet struggles of people who live ordinary lives. The Indian middle class is more than a category. It's a way of living. It exists in rented flats and growing ambitions, in the balance between EMIs and family outings. While much of Bollywood looks away to grander stories, these films stay with the everyday. They treat ordinary life with care and attention. Over time, some films have captured this world with honesty and warmth. They don't just reflect the middle class, they understand it. And that's why they stay with us. So in this video, let's talk about 8 films that bring the middle class India to life. And every single film is actually capturing the spirit of the middle class life through simple moments, small joys, and quiet questions. Let's go ahead with the list. It's a very subjective one, so we highly encourage you to, share your thoughts in the comments and your favorite films that depict the Indian middle class. Without any further delay, let's get started. Mahanagar, which was the legendary director Satyajit Ray's first step into contemporary urban life. It remains a timeless depiction of the middle class family's everyday struggle. Set in 1960s Kolkata, the film follows Aarti, a housewife who steps out to work as a saleswoman when her husband's income no longer supports their joint family. The story, simple on the surface, was quite revolutionary. At a time when it was almost taboo for a woman to work outside the home, Aarti's decision disrupts the household's traditional structure. Ray captures these shifting dynamics with quiet compassion. A husband who supports her but wrestles with his pride, a conservative father-in-law uneasy with the change, and Aarti herself caught between doubt and growing self-assurance. What makes Mahanagar stands out is its gentle realism. There are no dramatic confrontations or exaggerated characters. Instead, the film focuses on everyday tensions, like earning a living, holding on to dignity, and adapting to a fast-changing world. Critics have praised Mahanagar as one of the most balanced portrayals of real-life middle-class struggles. And what's interesting is that Satyajit Ray's camera is finding depth in the smallest of moments. Aarti is, nervously applying lipstick before a sales call, and this becomes an act of quiet empowerment. A family is gathered under the glow of a single light bulb. This becomes a symbol of resilience, and that is the reason why 6 decades later, Mahanagar still feels strikingly relevant. And that's because it's an honest reflection of the social change in ordinary homes that paved the way for middle-class stories in Indian cinema, proving that even life of a clerk's household, like a very simple household, can actually be as compelling as an epic story. The 1960s brought the middle class concerns more to the screens. In the 1970s, they were made more centralized. Basu Chatterjee's Rajnigandha is actually a perfect example of the same. We can say that this was a very important film in the middle of the road cinema era, which is a style that combined realism with quite thoughtful storytelling. This gentle romance follows Deepa, a young college-educated woman in Delhi. Her heart is torn between her dependable fiancé Sanjay and Naveen, a charming ex she unexpectedly meets during a job interview trip to Mumbai. The film offers an intimate glimpse into the urban middle-class life. Everyday moments like a taxi ride on Marine Drive or missing a meeting because of work carry emotional weight. There is no lavish set or dramatic twist. Instead, the tension comes from things we all know. A boyfriend who's too preoccupied with office talk to notice a new sari, the surprise of running into someone from the past, or the dilemma of choosing between stability and excitement. Every frame hums with a yearning that feels real and not manufactured. Rajnigandha broke new grounds through its sincerity. It swept the Filmfare Awards in 1975, including Best Picture, precisely because it captured the urban middle class at a time when Bollywood was favoring spectacles. Yes, it was the same case in 1975 as well. The performances are intentionally restrained. Amol Palekar became the face of the gentle everyday man, and Vidya Sinha portrayed the thoughtful modern woman in the 70s. One scene that stands out is when Deepa is staring out of a taxi window, lost in her own thoughts, and in that quiet gaze, the film captures the soul of the city life, how personal feelings persist even amid the noise of the city. Rajnigandha found meaning in small choices. It proved that stories about regular people could move audiences as deeply as any grand drama. In doing so, it helped shape what would later be known as Hindi cinema's middle cinema. As we step into the millennium, we have Khosla Ka Ghosla, the one and only Khosla Ka Ghosla, that offered a fresh and funny take on the Indian middle class nightmares, which happens when the land that you saved all your life is actually stolen by a corrupt property dealer. I am sure you all remember this film. Diwakar Banerjee's Hindi debut is a sharp satire set in Delhi. It follows Kamal Khosla, a retired man whose newly purchased plot is grabbed by a slick real estate thug. What follows is a mix of comedy and cleverness as the Khosla family, with the help of a few oddball allies, sets up an elaborate con to outsmart the scammer and reclaim their dream. Behind the laughs, the film offers a sharp look at the middle class navigating post-liberalization India. At its core is a clash of values. Kamal Khosla holds on to decency while his sons lean towards bending the rules to get ahead. It's a reflection of a society caught between old ideals and new pragmatism. Now, what sets Khosla Ka Ghosla apart from so many other films is how local and specific the story feels. It's unmistakably a Delhi film. From Punjabi dialects to fixation with owning a house in a good South Delhi colony, critics even called it the definitive cinematic representations of Delhi's venality, portraying a middle-class family trapped between dreams and deceit in the city's most unforgiving property games. The cast bring these characters to life with ease. There's soft-spoken patriarch, there is a son who is eager to move to America, the sharp-tongued family friend played by Vinay Pathak with a trick up his sleeve. Jaideep Sahni's script is full of warmth, wit and authentic details, whether it's the family's awkwardness at the high-stakes business meeting or their wary curiosity around a flashy fixer. Also, let's just take a moment to say that please lord out Jaideep Sahni. You have done such great work in the past, and I think it's high time that you make a return. By the end, when Khoslas pull off their victory using jugaad, more brilliant than the villain's schemes, the payoff feels earned. The film celebrates middle-class grit and wit without using its light touch. Khosla Ka Ghosla endures because it makes a serious point about protecting hard-earned dreams, all while keeping you smiling. How many Indian families have debated whether they can finally afford a car? Do Duni Char takes this very familiar question and turns it into a warm, relatable dramedy. The film follows the Duggal family in Delhi. Santosh Duggal, played by the late Rishi Kapoor, is an overworked high school math teacher. His wife, Neetu Kapoor, is a practical homemaker. Their teenage children often push against the limits of their tight budget. They live in a cramped flat, save every rupee, and hold on to the modest dream. Their biggest one is upgrading from scooter to a car. That simple journey from 2 wheels to 4 wheels becomes a reflection of the middle class ambition. Santosh scraps together a down payment, compares models, works out EMIs, and even considers cutting corners when things get difficult. Each moment feels honest because it is so familiar. As one review put it, never has the middle class family been portrayed on the Indian screen with such authenticity in recent times. And of course, the film echoes the grounded charm of filmmakers like Sai Paranjpe. What makes the Duggals so compelling is how real they actually feel. They argue, worry about bills, take up side gigs, and face life with humor and quiet determination. And of course, Rishi Kapoor and Neetu Kapoor casted as husband and wife, bring a lived-in chemistry that just deepens the film's realism. Director Habib Faisal, in his debut film, keeps the tone light and grounded. The film never lectures, it's never doing that or leaning too heavily on emotion. One moment when you are laughing at the families, borrowing a relative's car to keep up with the appearances at a wedding in Meerut, and on the other end, you are moved by Santosh's resolve to never compromise his integrity as a teacher. The film uses the dream of a car as a metaphor for everything that the middle class works towards, which is respect, progress, and of course, a better life. We root for the Duggals not because a car is a luxury, but because we understand what it means. It's a symbol of effort, dignity, and reward. By the end, when the family squeezes into their second-hand car, the moment feels as triumphant as any big screen victory. Do Duni Char is a quiet gem that celebrates everyday heroes, teachers, clerks, and parents who stay honest, hope big, and find joy in small wins. It's no surprise that the film won the National Award for Best Hindi Feature. It connected with audiences who saw their own stories reflected on screen. Not all middle class struggles are about money. Some of them are about loneliness, longing for companionship, and the need for meaning in the daily routine. The Lunchbox tells the tender story of two strangers in Mumbai who never meet, yet slowly change each other's lives through handwritten letters passed in lunchboxes. Sajan Fernandez, played by the late Irfan Khan, is a widowed accountant nearing retirement. His life has become quiet, predictable, and solitary. Ila, played by Nimrat Kaur, is a young housewife and mother who feels unseen in her marriage. A rare mistake in Mumbai's famously accurate Dabbawala system causes Ila's lunchbox to end up at Sajan's desk. From that small error, a beautiful pen-pal exchange begins. Each day, along with the food, they send short notes. The letters start with the comments on the meal and then slowly reveal the deeper thoughts, memories, and unspoken desires. The rhythm of Mumbai is shown with such vivid details: crowded trains, lunchbox carriers weaving through the traffic, and modest homes where neighbors are actually shouting across windows to create, a rich backdrop. And all of this noise, amidst all of this noise, there is Sajan and Ila who are finding a quiet connection. And the film notices these small things. Ila smells the spice box while cooking, whereas Sajan is eating slowly at his office desk, savoring each and every bite because it's very special. Ila lives within the middle class Bombay comfort, but she's lonely. The film reminds us that emotional emptiness can exist even in stable homes. Director Ritesh Batra uses small visual cues like a ceiling fan spinning above Ila, her silent waiting to say more than the words ever could. Now, Irfan Khan and Nimrat Kaur never share a scene, but their voiceovers and expressions carry deep emotion. The bond between them feels safe. The film also captures Mumbai's everyday life with affection. Nawazuddin Siddiqui plays Sajan's cheerful trainee, offering light moments and a view into office camaraderie. Ila's upstairs neighbor, known only as Auntie, sends spices down in a basket and advice with it. These small gestures hint at the quiet support systems in tightly packed homes. The film's strength lies in its specificity. It's deeply rooted in Mumbai's middle-class world, yet its feelings are universal. When Sajan writes, "I think we forget things if we have no one to tell them to," it speaks to anyone who has felt alone in a crowded place. The lunchbox blends sweet and bittersweet notes. It shows that beyond survival, people long for connection, kindness, and someone to talk to. Set in the dusty lanes of the 1990s Haridwar, Dum Laga Ke Haisha tells a story that is both nostalgic and socially daring. On the surface, it is about an unlikely couple. Prem, played by Ayushmann Khurrana, is a high school dropout who runs a cassette shop. Sandhya, played by Bhumi Pednekar, is a confident, educated school teacher. She also happens to be plus-sized, something Prem struggles to accept. The two are pushed into an arranged marriage. They share little common ground and even less physical chemistry. Prem is embarrassed by Sandhya's weight. Sandhya is hurt by his lack of maturity. But this is not a typical romantic comedy. The film explores the social pressures of small-town middle-class India. It looks at family expectations, community gossip, and outdated ideals about marriage and appearance. The story is also questioning the mindset that seeks a slim bride and an English-speaking groom. It does so with empathy and not mockery, as one article noted that the film is a rare look at the life in small towns, capturing their values, hopes, and limitations. Prem's family wants a daughter-in-law who is, having a steady government job, and Sandhya fits that role. Sandhya's family is simply relieved to find her a match, fearing that her weight might make her unmarriageable. Prem also battles his own insecurities. He's constantly reminded of his failures, even by his own father. Sandhya, in contrast, represents progress and confidence. Their emotional gap feels rooted in class, education, and self-worth. What gives the film its charm is the affectionate recreation of the 1990s. Kumar Sanu's music plays in the background. There are double cassette decks, VCR, and the fashion of a time when India was slowly shifting between old traditions and global influence. All of this grounds the story in a very real middle-class world. The film starts as a comedy but slowly grows into a moving tale of mutual respect and a heated family dispute. The couple nearly separates after that dispute. There is a quirky local competition, which is basically a wife carrying race, that becomes the turning point. Watching Prem struggle through the course with Sandhya on his back is both funny but touching. It captures the idea that marriage is all about carrying each other through life's obstacles. By the end, the couple's bond feels earned. The film does not shame Prem for his initial behavior but makes him grow beyond it. Dum Laga Ke Haisha sends a simple, sweet message that love is all about respect, patience, and learning to walk together even when the road is uneven. Next, we have Mahishinte Pratikaram, and I'm so sorry if I botched up the pronunciation. I'm really sorry for that. It's a quite powerful portrait of the middle-class life set in rural Kerala. Mahesh, who's a small-time photographer in Idukki, lives a simple life taking ID photos and chatting at tea stalls. After a public humiliation, he vows not to wear slippers until he avenges his insult. What follows is not a tale of revenge, but of self-discovery. The film finds drama in everyday life, lost love, a friend's betrayal, a rival's studio. Each moment is rooted in the rhythms of the small town. Mahesh's world is full of familiar faces, tailors, scrap dealers, gossiping locals, and quiet supporters. Director Dileesh Podan actually captures Kerala's beauty and middle-class realities with so much of subtlety. Mahesh's business struggles, the dream of migrating abroad and eventual romance, all of them feel so relatable. The final confrontation is understated because what truly matters is Mahesh and his own growth. If there is one thing that unites the Indian middle class across states and income brackets, it is the obsession with good schooling. And by good schooling, we often mean English medium. Hindi medium, directed by Saket Chaudhary, takes this cultural anxiety and turns it into a razor-sharp satire, blending humor and heartbreak to explore how far the parents are actually willing to go to secure their child's future. At the center of this story, based in Delhi, are Raj and Meeta Batra, a couple from Chandni Chowk who run a successful clothing store but carry the burden of class insecurity. Despite their financial stability, they are plagued by the fear that their daughter Pia will be left behind if she doesn't attend one of the elite English medium schools. What follows is a series of increasingly desperate and absurd attempts to get her admitted, from bribing consultants to faking a low-income identity to claim an RTE, which is the Right to Education quota seat. What makes Hindi medium resonate so deeply with middle-class audiences is how it exposes the emotional toll of aspirations. The Batra's struggle is not just about education, it is about belonging. Meeta wants to climb the social ladder, Raj is content but loyal. Their marital banter and contradictions reflect countless Indian households where spouses quietly clash over the right way to raise a child. And even as we laugh at their antics, posing as poor in a slum, attending parenting workshops in broken English, the film actually stings with its honest depiction of a society where language is a privilege and English is not just a tool but a status symbol. Irfan Khan once again shines with his trademark naturalism. Raj's inner conflict, am I good enough for the world my wife wants to enter, it's a heartbreaking one, especially in moments where he realizes the cost of trading authenticity for acceptance. The film is also critiquing the systems where school admissions have actually become like battlegrounds, where a child's future is often decided by the car that their parents are driving or the pin codes that they come from. Yet, for all its commentary, Hindi medium is never a bitter tale. It finds warmth in Batra families' misadventures and ultimately, offers a message of empathy. In one of its most powerful arcs, Raj befriends a genuinely underprivileged man in the slum and begins to understand the real meaning of opportunity and education. The contrast between the two families, one that is trying to fake poverty, the other is trying to escape it, lays bare the middle class's conflicted position in India's social hierarchy. And by the time credits start rolling, Hindi medium has already done what great middle class Indian cinema does best. It holds up a mirror of our lives and gently asks, is this who we want to be? With wit, heart, and a piercing sense of realism, the film is reminding us that in our race to, get ahead of everyone, we should not forget what truly matters: dignity, self-respect, and the courage to be who we are. That's all for this video. I'll see you soon in the next one. My name is Porush, and thank you so much for watching. Long live cinema.